good day, B2A. Today we're going to tackle about the science, technology, and nation building. So have you ever wondered how Filipinos survives before modern inventions like electricity, cell phones, or even hospitals? Today we're going to tackle about how they actually survives. So for the introduction, the development of science and technology in the Philippines has already come a long way. So many significant inventions and discoveries have been accomplished by or attributed to Filipinos. So the growth of science and technology in the Philippines has gone through many stages that you're gonna be learn later on. So first, let's talk about the pre-colonial period. So it is a scientific and technological development in the Philippines began in the pre-colonial period. So did you know that before the Spaniards arrived, our ancestors already had their own science and technology because early Filipino settlers were actually first they actually using certain plants and herbs as medicines. So early Filipinos, so during the pre-colonial period, the Filipinos already used plants and herbs to cure sickness. So let's say, for example, ginger or luya, it actually used for cough, while lagundi leaves, they're just going to boil that and to use for asthma or cold. So this shows that they already practice herbal medicines, which is still used today. So actually, doctors are not yet born during that time. So ang tawag nila sa doctors sa unang panahon is actually a mananambal. Or I don't know if you have already heard this to your grandparents, like they're just going to say that magpatambal tag pag magpatambal tag pinibisaya or magpatambal tag binisaya, something like that. So second is the actually implemented systems of farming and animal raising. So they actually grew rice, corn, and root crops, and also raised animals like pigs, chickens, and carabaos. So this farming system produced food for their families and also trade with other communities or other groups. So the third one is they develop different modes of transportation, whether terrestrial or maritime. So since the Philippines made up of many islands, transportation was very important. So on land or terrestrial, they actually use carts pulled by animals like carabaos or horse, while on water or maritime, they actually built boats like balangay or bangka, which could carry people and goods across islands. So this both allow them to trade with other countries like says China. So the last one is the use of writing, numerical measurement, and calendar system to facilitate trading. So early Filipinos already had their own writing system called baybayin. I think baybayin are still exist today, but are not commonly used. So they actually use that to record events and to communicate. So they actually had their numerical, like they actually use that for counting and measuring goods. So while the calendar system, they actually had they actually use the calendar system to tracking days, season, and farming schedules. So this is actually their calendar system called as Tumuno. So it actually had a 13th month in a year and 28 days in a month. So again, this is called as Tumuno, and it actually had a 30 they actually had a 13 month a year, 13 month in a year, and each month had a 28 days. So actually, one of the greatest achievements of our ancestors is the one of the greatest achievements of our ancestors is the rise terraces of the Cordilleras. It is a complicated engineering feat was achieved by the natives of the Cordilleras when they built rice terraces by hand. So I really like the history of it because more than 2,000 years ago, the Ifugao people carved the mountains by hand to create these dresses. So imagine they're just using their hand without any machines. So they actually made these dresses because so they could grew rice. So they could grow rice in a place where farming was difficult because of the stepland and cold weather. So to make it possible nga makagrow sila of rice, they actually designed an irrigation systems that brings water from forests and mountain tops down to the rice field. So imagine 2,000 years na ang nakalipas but still the rice terraces are still used today. That's the reason why that rice terraces are sometimes called as eight wonder of the world. So it actually not only about farming system but also a symbol of Filipino creativity and a respect for our nature. So actually, kind of culturally, um, rice terraces is actually represent the Ifugao people. So they are part of UNESCO World of Heritage Sites that it actually reminds us that science and technology are not only found in modern invention, but also but also in the wisdom of our ancestors. So imagine they actually made these choices by using their hand without any machines. While Karon we already had different kind of machines, but some of the Filipinos are using that to destroy our nature. Just like what happened from Sierra Madrid, people actually do the mining. So that's kind of a not respect for our nature. So next, let's talk about the barangay government in Ifugao or during that time. So in every barangay, it actually ruled by a chieftain or king called Dato. So the rulers of bigger barangay kingdoms assumes the title of Raha, Hari, or Lakan. So that time, that's their kumbaga president namumuno sa ilaha to make progress for their living. So next is about their education. So it's not specifically a school like same sa ato, not same sa ato, but learning how they do something, learning by doing something like that. Like, for example, the father actually trained their sons to be warriors, hunters, fishermen, miners, lumbermen, and shipbuilders, while the mother trained their daughters in cooking, gardening, sewing, and other household tasks. So during that time, lalahi ang mga trabaho sa lalaki o sa babae. So that actually shows that even before, Filipinos valued leadership, skills, and education that actually build our nation's growth. Okay, so that's the end of my report about the pre-colonial period.